Hello again, it's Uncle Don here, and I'm trying to tell you today about how important it has been for me to be able to think about. Well, I need to remind everybody that I've got schizophrenia, or for people that's viewing today, that I've got schizophrenia and I hear voices and can have delusions and other problems that cause my mind to fight against itself. And one of the ways what I've found that I can cope with that happening is to well, let me talk about one of the things that happens, or some of the things that happen, and the way I'm able to cope with having these possible delusions, or having been aware of these problems coming up in my life. So an important thing for me to do when I'm being paranoid, because I've been diagnosed as having a paranoid schizophrenic illness. I hear voices and have delusions of, or that may be. Anyway, the thing about what I want to say here is that there are people that I have to deal with here where I live in a community of other people who have a similar background to myself. But I've found not many people that I know gave up smoking, gave up drugs. Um, uh, well, that's the two main ones: gave up drugs, smoking, and for the hardest thing to try and get used to for myself is the fact that people don't actually believe that an ongoing decision that I make each day, and it can be hard to try and establish that boundary for yourself, especially for myself. And sometimes I can do that by personifying the problem, or making the problem those people in my mind. I mean, even though those people that's still on the drugs, that's still stuck in an addiction, they're not actually the problem with life for me. But the addiction, what they're practicing, is the problem that I've had to face. And to try and separate the two it can be difficult, because each person potentially has the ability to be able to have a normal life where they aren't trapped in some kind of poverty that stresses us out and makes us suffer psychosis. One of the things what I've found is that people who practice this lifestyle and are functional in it, they do the drugs and they're still able to function pretty normally, unlike myself, who's an addict, and if I get on drugs or something, I want to be stoned all the time, or if it's weed, or if it's meth, I pretty much want to be on it as much as I can, because it gives, that's just the way my brain functions or my body functions. I'm not sure how to explain the addictive nature that I have when it comes to drugs. But anyway, some people who's managed to be functional in that lifestyle, and to be functional in that you you don't pay for it yourself. You get what you feed your addiction by getting other people involved. But some people that I've come into contact with who are active in this way they can become they don't trust people who's off of it, people who don't need them for some reason, could always talk to the wrong people about what they do. And I found that this kind of paranoia is pretty much alive within all the people who've become functional in their addiction. um, and to trying to be um, being around these people is not easy, because there's an element of like the air can be thick. So what I found is that one of these people had put some fungus on my face. She touched my face with something, and she got a fungus to grow on my face, and like a yeast or something. And I found a way to beat it, and to really stop it in its tracks. And includes when I went to chemist, I found that wart removal stuff for putting on warts had aspirin in it. So I decided I would make something with some aspirin pills. So I've got some tablets, crushed them up in water, and I put them with some cream, beauty cream, and put that on my skin. And I used about in the cream. I guess I'll have to make some. I will make that another video. I'll make some and show you. Let me put a heap of aspirin in there, crush it all up, get the aspirin there, because aspirin or dispirin aspirin is an acid, and you can mix that up and make that acid into like a paste, and you use that paste on your skin, and it can feel like it burns a little bit, but yeah, you put that on the skin, and it really cooks it cooks that fungus what she put on there, cooks it up pretty good, and it gets rid of it. I don't seem to have much problem with it these days, but when it first came up, I was getting all flaky skin. It started out like flaky skin, and yeah, she had touched my face. She wanted to affect my tear ducts because of somebody who she thought that I had hurt in the past, who I told her about anyway. But another thing, what I tend to stress out about is threadworms, fleas, and lice in my place. I almost seem to be able to come home and I get itchy. I've been said to, I've been told by a specialist that I'm allergic to my own hair, but I still can't get that sort of to go into my brain, as in, you know, there could very well be mites or something that lives in the carpet or gets around the place that gets on your skin and can make you itchy or whatever. But I've been diagnosed by a doctor and a specialist, and they've said it's folliculitis. I think they call it folliculitis or some kind of folliculitis where I'm allergic to my own hair, and I get bad dandruff. I used to, and I get these little spots. I used to get all these little spots on my tummy, but they're all gone. You can see that now that they're all gone, and I don't have the dandruff anymore. But what I had to do was use coconut oil, a mixture of coconut oil and castor oil in my hair. Mostly just use the organic coconut oil, seems to be the best, and yeah, just put that in my hair, and it made my hair stronger, whatever they say it is, and it also got rid of the dandruff, and it got rid of the spots on my skin as well. I still had them on my legs for some reason, and I think that's got to do with wearing pants all the time. I always wear long sleeve pants, or something to do with being allergic to my hair on my legs, and that has been another way that I've been able to sort of cope with that, because in the past I used to buy scabies cream or and flea powder and surface spray, and I used to spray all around. I mean, I still do once every couple of months, but along the skirting boards and stuff. But you're supposed to do that in your home anyway. I've seen like a great just here as a bloke. Anyway, well, I'm not going to go into that. the sprays and that can also irritate your skin as well. So I needed to find something that was going to be natural and was going to be functional, and it was going to be able to help in a good way. So I did that. Also with worms, thread worms or something like that. I could see these little fibres floating around in the air sometimes, and I thought they could be thread worms, but apparently that's just like fibres off your clothes or off the carpet, little fibres that come off of the materials in the house. And I try to keep mine natural, like leather and that, but I still like cushions, whatever. But yeah, so I was worried about that, and I found that if I could include beetroot in my diet, that would also help to get rid of the worms, because that makes them swell up and explode, the beetroot and the beetroot juice. So I get the tins of beetroot, and I include that. I keep the beetroot handy in the fridge. Sometimes I get a munchies or whatever that's nice and sweet. But eat the well, not so much a munchies as in getting stoned, but when I feel like I just want a snack, I'm going to snack on some beetroot. Also good for my liver. I had hepatitis C, which I got rid of in 2016. That was not through anything what I did. It was through the government. The government paid for me to have these pills, Harvoni, and I got rid of all Hep C. But the antibody's still there. But anyway, beetroot was good for getting rid of worms. It's good for your liver as well. It can help you to cope. I still have scarring on my liver, so and I found that to help stabilise my mood and uplift, keep me lifted a little bit in a natural way, I had to stop smoking. That was a killer for me. Not just because of the smoke, because of the poverty that comes with it. That's the killer, man. That used to make me suffer psychosis and depression, which made me suicidal that many times. It's just not fun. And I found that stopping smoking really helped to stop the problems that come with poverty. So yeah, I had to stop that. I found that to even my mentality out and my mood and that, I've had to take some probiotics. I had the probiotic drinks and vitamin B. It was as simple as that for me. And of course, having a stable, steady diet, good diet. So yeah, that's all been good for my body. That is. I don't know what else to say. I've been a bit lazy since COVID, but fitness also helps. You need to keep yourself reasonably fit. I'm getting a fair bit fatter now, but I'm still keep a good diet as best I can, and try to limit what I eat. Most importantly, being 52, drink lots of water. Got to have it. No questions for your joints mainly. But yeah, and your blood. But yeah, water. So that's pretty much my body health summed up, and it's how I've been able to cope without psychiatric medication in that way. Coping without psychiatric medication when I deal with other people. Now, in the past, I have had experiences with people, but things have happened where I just can't explain. I guess they couldn't explain either, so it's probably a bad reaction on my part to a bad reaction on their part. So we just have to sort of go along with it as people want to talk to you about it, or they don't want to talk to you about it. The important thing is not to get too sensitive about other people's opinions, and it's very important to allow people to have an opinion. I mean, I have opinions myself, so I need to allow for other people to have an opinion for that to be a functional but you can become opinionated. And I think that if you put that into like use one of a word otheration, what I heard from if I'm more focused on what other people's opinion is, it's like I'm focused on an opinionated resolve. It's difficult to try and explain how you can become fixated on what other people think about you rather than how you feel about you. And I found that schizophrenia was really one of the most selfish diseases there is of your mind. It seems to make everything revolve around you, and everything you're focused on is all to do with you. And a good way when you're dealing with other people, or when I'm dealing with other people, is to try and be there for other people a bit. Which will bring me to if you're trying to do that all the time, or people see, oh yeah, there's so many times people find that this strength in your character as a weakness, and it's so important to be there for yourself, because we're going to help other people, not because we want to help other people and get them to approve of us, but because we feel that we're in a position where we can help other people, and it's important to choose the people you help in the way, because it's so easy to be played. People in this environment can quite easily see you as weak, and you're easily played. And so yeah, maybe allow yourself to be played. Maybe once, like I'll go into an example, a guy was hanging out for cigarettes. I don't smoke. I just couldn't help him. I said, look, I'll tell you what I'll do. I've got a spare bit of money. I'll buy you a packet of smokes. And then he's like, oh, gee, thanks. So, and with a grin, he was very happy to get a packet of smokes. He would be, but if they smoked. But it wasn't long until he's back on the doorstep. Oh, hey, can you? I haven't got no money. I'm having trouble paying my bills. I've got no smokes. And I'm like, man, hard luck. I can't help you. And he persisted. He was like, oh, I need smokes, man. I need to have a smoke. I'm getting stressed. I said, I just said, no, fuck off. I'm not buying your smokes. And that was it. He persisted a short time longer, and that was it. But it's important to stand up to people who's trying to pressure you for something, and to be able to stand up. And I mean, this is pretty straightforward anyway. I think everybody does that. But yeah, to not let people suck the good out of you. It's good to be able to make people smile and be happy. But when people are laughing at you, may get to the stage where it's a joke. You maybe put a couple of smile on a few people's face, but then it becomes like a joke, and it's like they've got to pull a few strings and get you to dance for them, people are very cunning like that at times. I've probably been guilty of it myself, and that's probably taken a little bit of awareness training about myself, or becoming aware about the way I am, and the way I try to, the way I play people, I guess, or the way I played them. I'm not sure how to put it. It's pretty unsteady ground there to try and talk about yourself and how you have played people, or how you've sort of worked things to your advantage, when sometimes it just feels like you fall over backwards from situation to situation, and you just go with it type. I don't know. And that's sort of like the way it happened for me a lot of the time. without going too much into my story, but when I was 18, I got money from a compensation payout from when I was at school, damage to one of my eyes, and when I was a short time later, wasn't even a year later, I got even more money from my dad died. So, in those times when I had all those money, I was played because I was a kid. I was like 18, and I was like, yeah, I didn't really care. I didn't really know the value of money that much, and how it can be like a foundation for your security. Like buying a house or something like that. And although you do get it into your head that you can um, have the security, I found that drugs. Though I found that drugs and people who use them, um, they see you differently when you own your house. Because when you own your house, it's like you're not paying any rent, and I find that people who've gone through life and had a lot harder life than what I've had, and my life has not been easy, but they have had it a lot harder, especially when it comes to finances. Therefore, psychologically, I don't think it comes much harder for me, apart from psychologically, when it comes to trusting people and them damaging you or taking advantage of the way they do, then there's no actual. It's kind of difficult to explain, but for other people, it's just like, yeah, you don't trust those people. You know straight out that you don't trust those people. You don't have to, and you're not bound to stay anywhere. I've seen a lot of people who've sort of grown into a mentality where their defence is something that they can manage because they know not to trust anyone, and it's easy for them to take advantage of others because that's how they learn to survive. Whereas my upbringing was a bit different to that, where the people who I couldn't trust were provided for me and provided for me quite well. And I didn't see other people who pretended to be looking out for me. But anyway, being played by people who have learned to take advantage of other people almost systematically is it's a trouble that you learn to live in amongst when you're living in government housing. But another thing about being in government housing, I have found is being around people with a mental illness, just like myself. A lot of the time we've got a community treatment order put on us. I was on a community treatment order, and you have to take the medication. They give you a depot injection or something. You don't turn up, they've got you and they lock you in. So you see there's more people that I know getting stuck in that situation than I had known in the past, because I've been working for a disability industry. I used to work for a runner. So some people who's watching would know that. My Facebook profile's got my jobs on there was high functioning jobs, but I did work with low functioning disability people. It's very rewarding to be there with those people to help somebody who's blind, or somebody who got who's got more of a disability than what I've got. It's very rewarding to be with them. But some people that you work with is difficult to get along with. But they're facing their own struggles where people have taken advantage of them, hasn't allowed them to grow up. Other people have had their bodies sabotaged. I can relate to that. But people had their bodies sabotaged by their parents or grandparents or whatever. they wanted to damage the bodies. They ended up they've got a disability. And it's so many times, it's usually always coupled with some kind of intellectual disability to try and get that across to some kind of authority that can do something about it. So it is good to be there with people, to get them to talk, help them to talk about whatever's on their mind, and just to be their friend there for them. It was really a rewarding experience for the runner. But because I'm high functioning, I didn't get along with a lot of the staff there. A lot of the staff saw got a lifestyle that I questioned, and I didn't get along well with the staff. A lot of my bosses, and I don't think I've ever really got along with my bosses for some reason. I don't really know why. I think it's some kind of mental thing or something. I think it was because the people who were my authorities when I was growing up was neglecting me or abusing me in some kind of way, and I had an attitude towards them. But being around people like myself in an environment like this, where there's psychosis, people who's having psychosis, who are having a psychotic episode, it's really important to encourage people to talk about stuff. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes what they're saying can you just stick with it, or they're feeling persecuted, and just leave it at that. Because a lot of people who have a mental illness, they hear somebody say something like, and they just feel like, oh, you're saying something to me, you're trying to antagonise me with psychological abuse. In the many ways that you can say that, and just understanding that somebody saying, I'm feeling persecuted, in the many ways that we can say that, because we can become abusive, we can become destructive, we can become tantrums. There's probably other ways as well, by yelling at people who aren't there. Okay, in the sense of schizophrenia, becoming angry and abusive towards people that aren't there. It can be for some people that live here who don't have a mental illness. For some people that live here who don't have a mental illness, for them it's like they just think it's a joke, it's funny, it's not, no, don't talk to that person, no, don't approach them, don't even do anything, just ignore it, it will go away. But a lot of the time I think that it's important to check on somebody if they're yelling and carrying on, or even trying to break things. It's important to themselves. It's important to talk to them and let them know that you're worried about them in the many ways that we can. Or we'll just say, "Are you okay?" They might have dedicated a whole day to that. It's a "Are you okay?" How simple does it get? But sometimes you might get your head bitten off, so to speak. But that's only because people don't cope well with being persecuted for no good reason. And a lot of the time, the schizophrenia that I have plays on an influence that was over my life and that I wasn't aware of. And upon becoming aware of it, it's like now I feel persecuted because of it. It's a good thing that I'm aware of it, but also because I am aware of it, I feel persecuted for it. So I think that's the way my brain is working. It's like, hey, you know what you did, dickhead? You did something that was bad, and you need to snap out of it. My brain's like, yeah, that's right. So we can do that by doing this. and it's just a continuous system of way my brain is fighting against the influence that caused me to regress. And yeah, I've got a lot of scars on my arm here from trying to regress myself into the grave. But I'm not the only one that's done that. There's other people that have been successful that I feel for, because often the influences we're under we don't see because of thinking other. Number one, because of the drugs. Number two, because of the alcohol. Number three, because of the poverty, because of the blindness, the spiritual blindness, because of addiction. And it's been under the influence of those being under that kind of influence can blind your spirit to the needs that you have for yourself and that other people have for themselves, and being respectful for the love that's bringing us all together. I think in the one, I'm going to start being religious in a minute, but I'll try to keep it anonymous. The love that brings us all together and unites everybody on the whole planet, regardless of religion. Regardless of the religions, all the religions, they all pretty much point to the one place: a safe place to live, a safe place to make a family, and a safe place to provide for them. There's the three things. That's like 3 points on it. So it's pretty powerful, that shape. It's a 3-point thing. You've got to blame a victim and a mediator here. We've got to blame ourselves for something, but the mediation is the awareness that we can have if we just take the time to process things instead of being instant, like knee-jerk, like a reflex. I often find that our reflex, if you can be your reflexes are for defence. So we want to defend ourselves, and yeah, that's the fight, the flight, or whatever. Rather than yeah. Well, we can't really go into all that. I don't think without another video. So we're going to wind up for there. I think I've been talking for long enough. Half an hour is probably a bit too long for most people, but I'll see what I can do in the editing. And that's it from Uncle Don for you today, and I'll be interested for you to leave some comments. I'm going to write out some subtitles for people who can't hear. If you can't hear, I'm going to put some subtitles down there for you to read. But yeah, I'll probably leave it at that for now, and it'd be interesting to hear what your experiences are, and if we can elaborate, or we can make it. If we can elaborate on any of the things what I've said here, shared with you today. Thanks, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.